Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna go enjoy it. Yeah, let's get it. Get it. Get it.
Ready to hit it.
Hit it. Hit it. Hit it. Hit it.
Oh, you're in a game. I'm so happy.
Are you sure right now, Josh?
I've been streaming all these games.
No problem.
I asked before previously, and everyone said yeah.
So, for the first time for most of you, y'all just come up on the elven capital city of Milan. It's big, it's shiny, and in fact, as you're getting closer and closer to it, you notice there is a distinct line in the earth. And while there is some blending, anyone who wants to can actually make a religion or arcana check their choice. But there's sort of a line, a slightly blended line, that once you get to sort of the very edge of the city where the walls are starting to, spring up, and you can see the main spires of the buildings. The colors of the plants and really everything just become far more vibrant and almost like fluoro or pastel. It's a little surreal. Artica, you've personally not had a great deal of experience with this kind of thing, but this seems like weird face shit.
Weird face shit.
Yeah. And as you guys are approaching, you're passing through various fields of some grain, some strange crop that none of you are terribly familiar with. The pristine elven architecture that is honestly unlike anything you guys have seen before if you haven't been to Malian before. This stuff is both ancient and pristine. It is fascinating and to some of you a little daunting. But nevertheless, Milan stands before you. The gates are open, and while guards do stand either side of them, people are being let in freely. There's no, big worry about, who might be let in or not. Things seem rather peaceful at the moment. So, what would you guys like to do? You have maybe about half a day before you're expected to meet Alendril. Anyone have any questions about the city?
I guess, like, what are the points of interest?
What does it smell like?
It's strange. There's definitely a bit of pollen in the air at the moment. Just a little. But there's definitely like there's the normal earthy scent of there's a normal earthy scent of what you might expect of tilled earth and everything as you're approaching, and then sort of the moment that you cross over that weird faded impression of vibrance, you immediately everything just seems a little bit sweeter. Sense to you, whether you find that sickening or pleasant. The city itself is known the
You're cracking up a lot.
Yeah.
See if I can wiggle around my cables. Where are they? Better? Better?
You cleaned up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Working out?
It working.
We good?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. I just had to fucking get under the hood of my computer for a second. But yeah, so yeah, there's the Starlight Academy, which is the most well-known and most respected school of the arts and learning and magic and the like. Magic and crafting of really all kinds, all sorts, whether that be art of poetry or writing or potions or smithing or just, you know, works of extreme talent in painting, carving, that kind of thing. But characteristic of that movement very different.
We're back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Near impossible to get in if you're not already elvish nobility. But regardless, it's still significant. It is mentioned before that the architecture here is amazing. Those of you heading to the history here, this place is fascinating, and the architecture is all good, but somehow it's definitely new and strange. You a little bit.
I think your mic just dead.
Oh.
Rest in
Wait,
peace
wait.
to the microphone.
Beepy boop boop. Words.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Brandon. Okay, Brandon. Okay. Come on.
Where are we?
I have like 20 minutes, and then I'll go.
I'm saying stuff.
Here's. You can come through clearly.
Okay.
Brandon did just say he would be back in like 20, unfortunately.
Oh.
No, I know. Give me 20. I asked for 20 minutes to take care of this, and I have to take care of something. I'm good right now.
You might want to
Right.
mute your mic when you go.
Sorry.
It's okay. I just don't want you to share
Yeah.
something you don't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So. Sorry, a little bit shaken. Did you hear me talk about the city?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
Yeah.
I honestly
Basically,
missed a lot of it.
basically, beautiful elven architecture looks very old but very well maintained. Or at least the prettier buildings do. Some of the pavings and some of the side streets are, you know, perhaps they could use a bit of a touch up. But the most prominent things are definitely quite beautiful and look like they have been well maintained for hundreds, if not thousands of years. But yes, there's. Is there anything specifically that you guys might be looking for? Any interests of specific fields?
Mm.
What sort of things would you guys be looking for?
Well, may not be the most flattering, but see if there's any varying types of arrowheads that they have, or improved bows.
Yeah, you could try and find perhaps an elven smith.
Malthorn dies a little bit on the inside, but he goes then swallows his pride, knowing.
Yeah. For perhaps the first time in all of history, a dwarf approaches an elven smithy in the intent to purchase something, and definitely the individual who was working at the forges. I mean, they're a little beefy for an elf, but not especially so. Elves are, even when they are strong, usually pretty light. And certainly they look up, and they have for a moment this sort of elegance, and then they do like a double blink, and it kind of shakes them out of it for a second, and they just sort of like their head just sort of tilts to the side, and they go just ever so slightly slack-jawed as they're just looking at you for a moment, and then you actually move, and they're like, "Ah, greetings, dwarf.
Aye.
Interest have you here?"
I figured you'd probably have some of the more eloquent designs for arrowheads and maybe something on hand that I could procure.
Arrow. Have you? Is there any particular purpose?
I've heard of ones that kind of whistle when you fire them, warns people if you're scouting. And then, let's see, like pulls out his book and like flips through a little bit and like, yeah, have any that might be able to hold alchemical properties, or maybe hold a little bit easier to kind of like sleeping medicines or other kind of concoctions.
A couple of whistling arrowheads on. You don't look like you have the arm span for a long bow. Is that what do you use?
Well, surprisingly enough, yes, I do use a longbow, even if it is a little bit, cantankerous to me size.
Well, I'll. And, yeah. He goes back and is just you hear just a little bit of thanking, and then out she comes out with a beautifully. It's not necessarily ornate, but it is very clean and well kept, like a almost jewelry case like box. She opens up, and there are 6 whistling arrowheads. And it looks like some of them maybe slightly higher pitched, some of them slightly lower pitched. It depends what they're going for. And they are also still bladed so that they would function as so slightly yellowish silver metal.
Ooh.
Electrum leaf on it or something like that. You'd have to make a check to know anything specific. Or you could ask. Yeah, there are two come out with a couple arrowheads that are there are a couple that are sort of essentially normal arrowheads, but they have like a small vial built into where the shaft of the arrow normally goes, so that the liquid would just gently leak out onto the arrowhead. It's not necessarily a hypodermic needle or anything like that,
Okay.
but it is. That's decent craftsmanship.
What about like walloping ammunition?
Yeah, you could absolutely sort of take a look for that kind of thing. Will you have to purchase it for what kind of weapon?
No, I'm thinking about options and things of different stuff.
I mean, if you want to ask about that, you could.
Might as well.
Yeah.
I was just
do
saying.
sort of-
I imagine Billy like walks in, seeing all this as Malthorn's looking through.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was gonna wait till the shopping was done because I think Billy would look for if there's any like really quick work. She's getting antsy with all this just traveling, just to do something, especially with her hands. So if there's any like quick work, especially something she could do before we're supposed to like meet Alendril for 10, 15, 20 gold, she's looking for anything like that. But we'll resolve that when the shopping's done. I didn't want to interrupt. I was looking at magic items and I wanted to say something.
You're good.
I would kind of look into the craftsman. So, how much for a bundle of each of these?
The whistling?
Yes, the whistling and the one with the able to hold the concoctions.
60 or something. Let's go for.
I cut out.
She's just thinking.
Alright.
Yeah. Let's say altogether. Let's go 5 gold for the whistling. Yeah.
Alright, 5 gold for the whistling, and unfortunately it cut out just for the concoction part.
I haven't seen anything more than that.
Alright,
Let me just put my camera on so that you can see whether I'm saying anything or
yeah,
not.
apologies.
No, you're
Yeah, it
good.
sometimes crackles on its own. It seems like.
Where's the fucking camera button? There we go. Hello.
Perfect.
Yeah. She's sort of thinking for a moment, and why don't we bring it up to a nice even 10 for let's go 3 of those vile arrowheads with the point on them still. Is that amicable to you?
I could do that. And, do you have any, it sounds like a bit odd, just in case, like, non-lethal arrows, something to still wallop someone, but not kill them? Ran into a few people on the road and tried to avoid knocking them out and such.
I would just pad the end of a blunt arrow, perhaps? Or use some kind of sleeping magic?
Just scribbled that down in my book and set down the 15 gold.
Or if you can manage it, just shoot them in the leg, maybe.
So I feel like Atika would have probably been behind Malthorn in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Would I be able to try to barter down the price, like a persuasion check?
What would you say?
Atika would probably say, it would probably be less towards the person, and I would probably say, like, to Malthorn, like, oh, you can get that over in Vish Coast for a much lower price.
Well, the individual does. Well, there's a bit of glare going on there. The individual, she speaks up a little might be so, but I assure you there are low quality there, and this coast is quite somewhere away. And then she just sort of leans down a little bit, and to be honest, it might not be the wisest decision to trust someone like that.
Hmm.
Atika will immediately look to Maltharn with a face that says, I don't know, can a face say, are you gonna purchase from a racist?
Sitting there in the back of his head, you see a soft glint in his eye of like, that's the secret. I've always been racist. Fucking elves. Um. I do kind of still need them. Unfortunately, it would be good. I'll probably check them out on the travel back, but time is a bit tight.
She mumbles like, you really should support tiefling-owned businesses.
I would.
Yeah. Is anyone else wanting to get any more smithery kind of things? There are sort of some elven weapons on display, and elven weapons, they're not just, normal variants of weapons that are just, elven beings. If they are crafted by a competent elven smith, they are unique in some way. They're significantly lighter, to the point where anything that you would be wielding with a single hand considered finesse. There's definitely some decent quality. Oh, yeah. Not that it matters for you guys. Elven weapons, none of them are heavy, so that part can actually use, large weapons.
Cool.
Do they have long swords with finesse? Kind of like.
Yeah, you could probably get an elven longsword.
I look at my already shoestring budget and like,
they're definitely a little more pricey
yeah.
than the normal longsword.
Oh. Yeah. Unfortunate. I'll have to definitely crash by here again for one of those.
Did anyone else want to get anything, or do you guys want to have a little bit of wander elsewhere? Or yes,
A job,
a
please.
job. Right. Are you looking for anything specific, or are you just looking for anything that you think you can do?
Something quick,
today?
something quick work, something that maybe like something that I'm fairly sure, like speed is definitely the thing. I don't want to like kill somebody. Like I'm not an assassin, right? Like something within my usual scope of work. I'm not going looking for something unusual.
Yeah. Realistically, you probably
I go to the Home Depot and I wait for somebody to come by in a pickup truck and I
No, wait, I think I'm supposed to do that, right?
Oh, it's the tiefling, yeah.
Unfortunately, realistically, an evening is not long enough for you to find and do a job of.
No, but like I don't know. I feel like literally something that just like needs doing. Somebody needs
something doing.
Literally anything.
right, like Oh, hey, you're strong. Could you lend your arms, like literally, like even farm work, like lifting heavy
sure.
things,
Why
something
don't
like
you
that.
just make a generic charisma check to see if you can appear appear personable and have a wander around and
What about instead of appearing personable, I appear strong, and people don't have to deal with the person. I have a -1 to charisma. Okay, here we go.
sure, you can make just a flat strength check if you
Okay,
want.
I would much
Just
prefer
to,
that.
like flex basically walking down the street. Just
That's a 2 plus
um
4. Yeah, no, I
you,
don't get work.
you,
Yeah.
you just sort of walk around flexing and people just sort of look at you a bit weird.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, there's that.
Someone gets like a wolf whistle and throws a copper at you.
I'm not. I do not pick it up. I'm not a. No. Actually, hold on. How pissed off has not getting a job made me? Ooh, I want to fight that guy.
Yeah.
I turn around and I say, yeah? And I start walking towards him with intent.
It's an elven guy and he's just holding up his hands and backing up. Sorry, just thought that was
Talk to
what we were
women?
doing.
What, you walk down the street and you whistle at him? Huh? You throw money? Little punk? I push him up against the side of a house.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's like I thought you were, that was your job to like walk around and look pretty and flex and stuff.
He started with I'm sorry and he ended deeper in the hole. And it's like wisdom save
what
again.
you trying to
I hit
do?
him. I punch him in the face.
Alright,
Shut the fuck up.
across the base.
Yeah. Shut the fuck up. Don't talk to people like
just
that.
real quick, high or low results.
It's always high, baby. Always high.
So Billy's in
Sexism?
jail.
That's fine.
Yeah.
This is fine. Do I roll or do you roll? I didn't hear if you responded.
You.
That's a 9. I haven't rolled above a 10 tonight so far. That is all low rolls. You see that? That's a 2, a 7, a 4, and a 9.
Everything's
Yeah.
coming up.
I would throw this d20 out at this point. Is what I would do.
You can you can refresh your page at the but yeah, you sort of definitely hear the sounds of some armored folks that have moved in that direction around just sort of at the kerfuffle. And it's up to you whether you want to go.
No, I just kind of hit him so that he bounces off the wall, and I'm like,
Okay, I thought
was
you
already done.
basically
No,
just
no,
whacking across the face.
no. It's like don't fucking talk to me like that, and I'm like as a dismissal. So there, I hear it. I'm like, it's like when you hear the transit police blow the whistle behind you. You walk faster and you pretend you didn't hear them. Sometimes they catch up to you though. I have a $100 ticket from this weekend.
Are you gonna?
What the fuck?
You gonna wait?
Yeah, I'm pissed. I'm fuming. I go.
Right. So you just leave the guy behind. See him. Sort of. You catch him in the back.
I catch what?
Catch him with your rifle. And then you go pick up.
He picks it up. Good. I hope he takes it home and remembers how to talk to women. I'm gonna remember that guy. I remember that guy's face.
Yeah.
Billy will remember that.
Alright, sure. Sounds good. I will keep that in mind. I'll forget it though, so I'll need you to keep.
No,
that in
I'm writing it on my sheet. That one guy that Cat called me, he's dead.
Okay. But yeah.
Is it called something else in this world? Is it called Tabaxi calling?
No.
Oh.
I mean, you could just say whatever. But yeah. Yeah, there's not a whole lot going on, but I would say, yeah, later in the evening, Sheffield, you sort of wandered off, right? Or we just end up keeping to the back and is the ramblings?
You're breaking up. I'm sorry. What?
I was asking whether you're still very
I'm
yeah.
sorry. Yeah, Shao has very little desire to be in the city.
Yeah,
And,
I was going to mention hear sort of a cart rustling, not rustling, like trundling. That's the word. Along sort of behind you guys, and just sort of passing by, and you hear the noises of a few animals.
I'm sorry. You're breaking up again. I'm sorry.
Let me just.
Do a hot phone switch situation.
Sorry.
It's not your fault. I can't. I'm getting every third word.
Is this working?
Mhm.
You okay?
Yeah.
Just gonna hope that stays fixed.
I'm just got hot fixed.
Is that what happened?
But then now
Yeah.
you said that sentence, and I got that. We got the whole thing of that. It's like when you're diagnosing it, it's fine. As soon as you turn around to talk, it goes back. It's insane. It's like it knows.
Yeah. It's like your head. It's like the driver is like, fuck you.
Are you projecting more or something when you're talking for
Now
us?
Nate's breaking up. What's going on?
I'm breaking up.
Ah,
Maybe my microphone's just not sensitive enough or something.
could
Now
be.
it's
If you
clear.
have, yeah.
That's because I'm putting it closer to my mouth now.
Just duct tape it to your face.
Yeah. Power move. Tape it to your beard. Tape it to your beard, and that way, when you rip it off, it's gonna rip out your hair, but it's gonna work.
I'd complain that you put it in your mouth, but it also didn't break up at all when you did that.
Yeah,
So
it's kinda
I have
clear.
mixed feelings. It's like, yeah,
Definitely just put your sensitivity down, I guess.
some of that.
Got fantastic.
Everybody, my boyfriend.
Handsome lad.
Right? It was so funny also. Sam broke up, and then on my end, Nate started to talk about the breaking up, and then broke up, and then everybody. Digital comedy of errors.
Error.
Error. This is when we all like switch to Skype or something for Sam's game exclusively, like monsters. We all get on a Zoom meeting.
Never
we play
again.
D&D.
No, thank
The
you.
no from me, dog.
So no,
Yeah, that's
we have
when
we have Skype drama in
this
chat.
kills the game for me. Sorry.
Oh no, sorry. That's my bad. Now Josh is breaking up. Josh just said something I didn't hear a word of it.
I was laughing.
Ah,
I'm just gonna.
Sam, it's okay, buddy.
believe in you.
Feel your pain, friend.
You can do the thing.
Well, the question is, should I leave my video on?
Up to you.
I don't know if that works. I don't think that works.
Probably won't. Yeah, because once you jump at the phone.
We go. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
just your headset, man. I'm sorry.
I need to get a fucking microphone. that isn't this.
HyperX is not the greatest. Like my sound quality isn't amazing, but it's pretty consistently good. This is my second headset of this brand, so if you need it,
Yeah.
If you another brand I recommend that's pretty solid is Logitech.
Also, V, tell Alex I say hi.
What?
Tell Alex I say hi. She's behind you right now.
That is not Alex.
Is it not Alex?
No.
Oh, for a second I thought it was Alex because I couldn't see her properly.
Oh
Couldn't see
no.
her face.
Other person's house. Nate.
Hi, I'm at my apartment. Alex is here.
Okay, that's right. Because I heard Alex's voice before, and I assumed you
was in
guys were
one
at the
of-
same place because you're almost always at the same place.
Yeah, Thursdays
Alright.
is always different. So
Okay, that's why I'm confused.
If you saw Alex at my house, would be.
that would be
An interesting
News.
turn of events.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm fucking your girlfriend.
All right. Well, Nate say hi. Alex.
Whoa.
Yeah. It's confusing.
Huh?
Deja.
Deja, V's roommate.
Fucking your girlfriend and over this place. Fart reverb hits. Hell yeah.
Things got real complicated. Like what?
Alright. I'm
Anyways,
reaching the point of mental exhaustion. Power through.
Emotional damage.
If it's getting to you,
Yeah, man.
don't stress.
Yeah, man, relax.
He's only D&D. We not need,
Don't do it
don't kill
when
us.
you want to go through it.
Love you.
Yeah, man, you're awesome.
Inner peace.
Inner peace.
Mm.
Inner peace.
We're imposing inner peace on the chat. Are you double fisting energy drinks? Sorry, Sam.
White claw in one hand,
let me
monster
just-
in the other.
Take a second to breathe.
Yeah, man. Take your time. No worries.
Yeah, man.
Alright. So. Anxiety.
Easy for me,
God
dog.
damn it.
I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Alright. Also, love you too. I should say that, because it's true, you're cool. But yeah, alright. So, what I was saying is, it looks like an individual is sort of passing by behind the group, and they have to move to the side of the road for a moment. As it looks like sort of a cart with various sort of small and large and medium-sized, all sorts of sizes of cages with a few animals in them, some with, some without. And there's even a couple. There's a sort of a larger animal that's sort of being led behind the cart as well. And it is. It looks like maybe a half-elven individual, or partially elven anyway. Their ears aren't quite as pointed as most folk you've seen around here. Yeah, the elvish blood is not quite as prominent. But they still look to be dressed in some significant finery, just sort of shouting a little bit to get people to clear the way. And shout as you're sort of at the back of the group, not wanting to interact with the rest of the individuals in the city, as your distaste for it is made clear. You are sort of slightly bumped into by the cart, and then the larger animal at the rear of the cart, which is essentially a boar or a hog the size of a cow, with massive tusks, some sort of coming out from the side, almost like if they were connected, it would almost be like a massive bulldozer kind of thing. And there's this interesting, almost like painted hound complexion going on with its fur up its front. It's definitely very exotic looking, and it sort of gives a indignant snort as it sort of bumps nearby you, and you do see a couple other creatures in those in the cages on the back of the cart there. But yeah, unless there's anything you want to do about that, then that passes on.
I will let it pass on. I actually was going to ask, as interested as I would be to see about acquiring about an animal companion, I was also contemplating maybe doing a slight shift to my archetype instead of going with animal, because since it's so early in the in
If
level
you'd
3.
like to, you absolutely can
Yeah,
do
just
that.
just become a gloomstalker, which still fits in the theme of being being kind of secretive and quiet. Because gloomstalkers
Yeah, you
are about,
absolutely can do that
yeah,
if you want to.
I feel like that would better capture him being, because gloomstalker's about evading dark vision and
Yeah,
being
you
one in the
can
shadows and
absolutely do that
ambushing.
if you.
Yeah, I feel like that would be a better fit for the guy, anyways. As much as I
Yeah.
love the interplay of the animals, and I still could talk to animals, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free if you want to make that change. Make that change.
Maybe that's what he does. He instead of becoming
Yes, right.
focused on the animals, he goes inwards and focuses on just being quiet.
While we're switching things, could I swap my magic common item for a different one?
Like pick one.
Message me the one that you want, and the one that you have,
Got you.
and then I'll let you know.
Okay.
But yeah.
Mine, I'm
Interesting.
But you would have to let me get around the requirement. I thought that might be.
Yeah, I'm gonna say no for now, primarily because of the requirement.
Yeah, I thought it would be a fun backstory thing, but honestly, I forgot about the requirement until just now. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, you're good. But yeah.
So.
I will say that if you guys are not looking to purchase anything else, then that'll probably be it for that evening. You guys can find your way to some accommodation. You'll probably find your way to a place called the Moonstruck Manor, which is definitely very heavily moon themed, with a bunch of interesting sort of phase symbols of the moon in different phases, and hanging sort of at the center of a rather large and intricate chandelier is it looks like a piece of not necessarily moonstone as in the crystal, but like as in like stone that looks like it is a piece of the moon, and it is glowing slightly like the moon does in the night sky. But yeah, nothing terribly eventful, I imagine, happens that evening for all of you. But yeah, did anyone want to make sure they had anything ready for when they do meet up with Alendril?
No, he didn't. He didn't tell us to bring anything specifically. I don't think.
No, I was just wondering.
Okay.
All right, cool. In which case, morning would probably come, and in in rather short order, unless you guys would anyone wake up before the crack of dawn?
Hmm.
All right. In which case,
Shao would definitely wake up before dawn.
all right. Would you sort of come down and you know have some food and drink before then, or?
Yeah, he would actually make breakfast for everybody.
I'd probably do shortly after him.
That would be difficult to do in the inn.
Okay.
Also,
Well, then he would
probably
just
a
be up
little
early
bit
then.
of,
He would
but
probably be
I
up
don't-
early.
Yeah. But yeah, in which case, so you would see Alendril come in, and sort of a nervous smile on his face as he sort of gives a nod to you. Hello. I'm glad you found your way here all right. Sorry about the city, the people, and everything really. They're not, I don't imagine they've been very nice to you, but regardless, I'm here, and are the rest of your compatriots in the same establishment?
Yes.
Great. Well, when they're why don't you know what? I'll just wait here. I'll and he just sort of comes up and then sort of orders a couple of drinks and sends one over to you, and it's just sort of sitting there awkwardly in the early morning, just sort of holding his drink and just sipping it a little bit.
Shao looks around, and he pulls his hood down, and then he walks over to Alendril, and he sits down next to him, and he actually kind of looks like he assumes an older stance, and he says, "Master Alendril, you can relax. You're among companions here, and there is no need for you to feel nervous. You're a very skilled person,
Oh,
and you should have more. You should have more confidence in yourself."
I
And
just
she
don't want
smiles.
to run into my family.
Oh, well then if you wish to avoid notice, that cleft over there with the table has good vantage and also gives you cover against the doorway.
I don't expect they'll find me in here, just force of habit. Appreciate it, though, the sentiment is. Anyway, and after perhaps an hour and a half, maybe even longer, of Alendril just sort of sitting there awkwardly, and then eventually you guys, I assume, each come down. And yeah, he sort of gives again a nervous smile to each of you, but generally avoiding direct eye contact for more than a second. And well, yeah, as you all eventually come down, I trust the travel went all right. Was that so?
Yeah,
A lot. No, go ahead. Go ahead, you first.
just bumped into a few people that I did tell them to fuck off.
Yes, there's a little bit of a problem with banditry at the moment. The Sturges didn't give you too much trouble?
Oh boy. You just see Malthorn go pale at the mention of Sturgeon.
I take it they did give you a fair bit, but you're here. So that's good. Also, it has occurred to me that perhaps I should give you some hazard pay for that. So, and he sort of takes out and hands each of you a platinum.
Oh, thank you.
So yes, it seems that was perhaps a little more hazardous than I had originally anticipated, but regardless, I appreciate your meeting me here. Vrinker is not in the city at the moment. He probably wouldn't be very welcome. But would you all accompany me to the Starlight Academy? I've got a little bit of research to do, and I could do with a little bit of a hand, even if it is just, holding books and turning pages and the like. I understand it's a little less exciting than some of you might normally expect, but I would be happy to help you research any of your own interests. The Starlight Academy has a very extensive library.
No, I'm more than keen to page through a few books when not carrying stuff.
Lovely. Well, do come with me. And he, he picks himself up and finishes his drink and leaves a couple of gold on the counter. Are we all good to go?
I'm ready. I would not. I can go check on the others and see if they're prepared.
All right. Well, I'll wait at the entrance. I don't imagine they'll let you in as you are without me. So, see you soon. And he leaves the building. Yeah, so assuming you sort of each come down and have your breakfast, have whatever drinks you might like to before you head out on the day. Oh, and Alendril will pay for your rooms and that. So don't worry about gold for that sort of thing. But yeah, you are all content to go in and meet him at the academy?
Yeah, I'm very eager to get out of this place.
Very
I
fair.
probably get water for breakfast. I kind of just like sneer at it and then pull out my tankard of ale and just and fucking fill it up.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck who drinks water for breakfast? It doesn't get you going.
There's milk, but yeah. But yeah, you guys meet up, and while the guards outside the gates.
20 minutes, I give you an hour.
Okay.
Been an hour.
The guards outside the gates of the Starlight Academy are definitely a little surprised, let's say, to see folk of your ilk around in the area, much less attempting to enter the Starlight Academy. Alendril does show up, and they do recognize him, and he pulls out a little slip of paper, and though there does appear to be some reluctance on their faces, and the sense that they might get in trouble for letting you guys in, that the paperwork seems to be in order, and you are eventually let in. And there are beautiful gardens around here. There's sort of various hummingbirds and other small songbirds that you can hear just sort of chirping away. It's very pleasant and pristine, if an accurate representation of what actual nature is like. And yeah, unless you guys want to do anything in the garden, he leads you forth eventually into a library that is, quite frankly, colossal. You could quite easily get lost in this place. And as he sort of sets out a place, finds a place where there's some desks and a couple of chairs. They're a little bit away from where any other students might be studying. He sets out a few pieces of paper and signals for you to all surround him and watch as he dictates, sort of looking at the various things he needs, or at least the leads that he has, or what he might need for the next steps. Sorry, of his experimentation. And he does sort of turn to you all and ask, and was there anything you personally wish to look up? This place is, well, for one, everything's in Elvish, and for two, it's a little difficult to navigate.
Well, I would need more or less the help on finding things, but take an interest in if anyone's done any study on aberrations, maybe even some monstrosities, has various design improvements for, well, I guess defense in a way, bows, arrows, anything at a lighter or closer for range. Myriad of plants as well.
I can see if I can find something along those lines. The trouble with aberrations is, well, if you have any understanding of the structure of the planes, that is an extremely broad topic. Do you have a specific area you were hoping to explore, or any sort of lead you might have? Anything?
Mostly those close to Dronic.
I can have a look. I've heard there are a few things that come up from below in the mines. Is that the sort of thing you're looking for?
Yeah, that's the exact category I'm looking to fix.
You've nothing beyond that in terms of information, though?
Let's see. There's a few others that, well, people have always mentioned it, like masks and such. So I myself go over my notes real quick as best as I can.
Yeah.
Do have the rogue lusher that was handled in the swamp. Let's see here. One of the masked figures that, no, don't know if he falls into that category. There are a few near my farm as well that have been an immense problem for some, and others quickly avoid outright. Kind of lock you in a stare, like a death glare, horrifically.
And what sort of creature might that be?
Let's see.
Do you have any sort of inkling, any more? Where should I start?
probably dwarven folklore if there is any. That is a bit tough. Well, the myth on one of them would be an animal that had starved, so it could be maybe something to do with nature going awry.
Well, if you like, I can direct you to the small section we have on, Dwarven history and folklore, and a fair bit of it is in Dwarven.
That would be a good start.
Yes, it's right this way. And he leads you over in that direction and points you out the section, and sort of shows you how to read the system, although it is a little bit confusing.
Perfect.
Did anyone else have anything they wanted to look up at all?
Yeah, I have a vested interest in, like.
You can message me.
Well, no, it's the cat is largely out of the bag. I'm just being.
Yeah.
I have some, yeah, like we haven't had an in-character conversation about it yet, so I would like to look up some. I like am quiet. I guess I'm role-playing quietly, talking to the guy, because I'm not gonna be the person that brings up the fact that I turned into a wolf. So I would like to, yeah. Any books they have on like canthropy, studies on lycanthropes, moon cycles, that sort of thing.
Alright, well, sort of, do you know Elvish?
No, I need a guide.
In which case he will sort of bring you to that section, and I'll just simultaneously have each of you guys roll investigation, and
do we get advantage because he's
you have advantage because Alendril's assisting you.
Thankfully, I do know Elvish.
A 17, thank God.
Alright. Yeah, so what specific information are you looking for, or is there just generic information on lycanthropes?
Life cycle, whether like the stories of accounts of them, whether or not any have had time, like
Are you looking for more scientific, or?
Yeah, scientific, but also documented cases of like somebody who like what is probably not uncommon is that somebody who's researching something like this, similar to someone who researches an infectious disease, people can become infected, but that sometimes leads to really good scientific accounts of somebody who is a scientist going through the processes and recording their own personal accounts of what happened to them. So yes, mostly scientific. I'm looking to aid in
specifically, what kind of information are you looking for? What would you be searching for?
Anything that would be similar to my situation, anything that would help with the alchemical crafting of what I'm doing, or anything that might tell me, like it might inform some of the reasoning behind stuff. Because I'm still, because it's still kind of unclear, despite what I know. Those are the three categories.
Your situation in regards to essentially infection vectors, it essentially acts as a bloodborne disease, although it is a magical one. And thus it can be contracted by basically essentially fluids coming into contact with each other, whether that be blood or saliva.
Right, as a order of the lichen, I have like
and
this was done
it can also be the blood can also be drunk in order to infect someone.
Okay. So what about things that would help with alchemical aspects of what I'm doing?
So there are various methods of sort of suppression and control. I mean, there is definitely a heavy undertone of essentially cure them as soon as possible, and after they've turned, each time they turn, it gets harder and harder and harder to cure them, to the point where eventually it's just impossible. And if an individual cannot be, if an individual is turned more than 3 times, it's advised that you just put them down. Because they're just a risk to themselves and everybody else.
Sure.
And yeah,
What
that
about,
kind of thing.
okay, then what? So I guess the thing that I find the most about is how to kill them, which is also helpful to me and my purpose.
Yeah, but in regards to sort of suppression, specifically targeting the beastly elements of the individual is difficult, but it is possible. Using essences of silver and wolfsbane, one can, in a way that you're somewhat familiar with, create a poison that is mostly effective against only the beastly and hybrid forms of a lycanthrope.
Okay.
And although that kind of effect is definitely something that it's needed to be constantly applied, as again you're well familiar with. There are experimentation in terms of curing lycanthropy alchemically, but it's not been done before with someone who has transformed at all. And
Right, somebody who would have been unblooded, who had not tasted of the flesh, who had not.
Yeah. And it sort of speaks that is very complicated, because essentially the individual has to be willing to relinquish the curse. And because the curse takes hold of their mind partially, that can be a very difficult thing to balance. There's a lot going on. But yeah, there are here tell of concoctions. There's sort of like a sub-note that you could sort of find, that it's not necessarily in this section, but it references another book about a concoction that can essentially lock one's form from changing, whether that be by magic or by, well, I mean by magic really, whether that be like the polymorph spell or shape changing or anything like that. It can essentially lock you into that single form while you're under the effect of it. As for control, there's a couple of mentions of blood hunters, but nothing specific about them. They're very esoteric and strange.
Are there any accounts of of places where blood hunters are more common, perhaps? Do they mention, do any of those specific documents mention, oh, I was traveling near so and so and I ran into one, or is it more abstract than that they speak of?
It's a little bit more abstract than that. There is sort of like a brief interview with a blood hunter.
Can you perform it like you're both the interviewer and the interviewee for me? I know you have it written down. So, oh, okay.
But, yeah. But they essentially sort of go back and forth about, why didn't you get cured, or couldn't you get cured? And they sort of, basically are like, hey, I could not get cured, but someone managed to pull me from the brink of insanity, and though I couldn't cure it, I could use it to prevent other people from getting infected. And that individual had actually had their teeth removed in order to prevent themselves from being able to spread the infection. But they were sort of near the end of their life, and as they were sort of growing older, they were getting weaker, but the beast within was not. And there's sort of a note at the end of that mentions that the individual was humanely put down.
Jeez. Okay.
Yeah. There are, I would say, probably the most interesting note that you do find is that it's a little bit more in the folklore section of things, but given the strong connection to the cycles of the moon and the sort of beastly nature of it, there is a common speculation, a common belief that there is some sort of Fae connection with lycanthropy, and there is a tale that you eventually, through sort of winding your way through various books and various sort of old fairy tales, basically, and you eventually find sort of an analysis of a partial fairy tale that speaks of an individual, essentially an elven lord, who was essentially very greedy and the like, and became basically obsessed with keeping everything he had, and just wanted to be able to feast feast endlessly, because he had so much money and he just wanted to actually be able to spend it all. And he made a deal with a hag, as things go. Of course, it went a little bit wrong, and his hubris was definitely punished, and he became the first werewolf. And his sort of title was Lord Vaer, and there's some speculation that there is a connection between werewolf and werewolf, but the most notable part is that his hand in the ritual that transformed him was cut with a silver dagger, which is believed why silver can harm werewolves. That's kind of the legend connection there. And there's a couple of notes that one might want to be cautious when dealing with hags and fae in general. The old magics of hags might be able to manipulate this curse if you were willing to sacrifice something of equal value. Did you catch that?
I'm sorry, I had to go away for 1 second. What was that last bit that you said?
Essentially, while it's advised to be cautious when dealing with fae,
Yeah.
that because this curse was created by old fae magics, particularly that of hags, that if you were to be smart about it, and have something that you were willing to give away,
Go in prepared to lose something.
Yeah, then you may be able to basically bargain for them to manipulate it, seeing it was their old magics that created it, supposedly.
Okay, well.
But that would depend on what kind of outcome you're looking for.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Cool.
And to circle back one time, there were no additional herbs that sound like I should be collecting. I already know.
No, it's really wolfsbane and silver. Are the the two main things. There's no particular other herbs that jump out at you. Yeah, that's really it. Although perhaps you could substitute other poisonous herbs in, provided you had at least a little bit of wolfsbane in there, because it's not actually the poisonous element of wolfsbane; it's the wolfsbane element of wolfsbane that is the primary thing about it, at least when it comes to your specific situation. Yeah. Sorry that took a while. Coming back round to Malthan.
That's good.
Yeah, Malthan, what were you looking for again, specifically?
The mines, but more particularly the creature that's always roaming the hills that a lot of the other farmers actively avoid.
Do you mean the Ibroliths?
Yes.
Yes. Alright. So, so that first one was for the creatures in the mines. There's not a whole lot to go on. There's a couple of sort of mentions that these strange creatures are... It's debated that they exist at all, or that they exist at all in the form that they've supposedly been described in, because almost everyone who survives whatever attack that they supposedly do come back, well, deaf and blind, and so are almost impossible to communicate with. But they're essentially very terrifying creatures that are at least mostly not of this world, that in the dark depths thrive on essentially plunging someone or something that is their prey into complete blindness and deafness, so that they're easier to kill and eat. And it is unclear whether they actually, if they exist in the form that they do, whether they feast on the flesh in order to just eat it as a normal creature would, or whether they thrive on the fear that blindness and deafness creates in someone, or some other strange psychic energy. There's not a whole lot to go on with that. Feel free to make another roll for the Ibrolith.
I'll give it another shot. Never been happier to be able to read Elvish. 11.
Yeah. Marginally better results. Although partially because you know what to look for, because you've more personally been close to the stories of this kind of thing. Essentially rumored to be an animal left to die out in the cold, particularly a domestic one that had a strong emotional connection with its owner or handler. that essentially comes back from the dead, and is constantly seeking company that was denied to it in its final moments as it was left out to die in the cold. But its nature as an undead creature makes it essentially just lethal. It's anything nearby it is said to freeze solid, and there are tales of people wandering out into the storm to find something and just not coming back, and then later being found with a terrified look on their faces, frozen solid, standing up. And there are occasional tales of almost gardens or like circles of frozen upright corpses just sort of standing and being revealed after a snowstorm passes. But as to how to combat these creatures, the only direct advice you're given is close your eyes. Don't look them in the eyes. And that they don't seem to be actively hostile, even though their nature makes them extremely dangerous. Beyond that, as to permanently destroying them, which, as you already know, is something that is extraordinarily difficult, and you don't even know how to do it yet.
Yeah.
That would be speculation on your part.
Definitely looking a bit frustrated, but seeing a small pattern here, formulating ideas that might help, or at least sectioning off areas where it might be prominently.
All right.
Furious scribbling in his notebook.
So, assuming no one else wants to research anything?
No, I can't think of anything.
Crazy alchemist shit.
In which case, Alendril will ask for your guys' assistance in his researching. If you don't mind. And he will, real quick, let me open this thing and make a roll for him. You do a roll. You do a roll real good.
Hell yeah.
What a good boy.
Yeah, and he's sort of looking through all sorts of things, and eventually, as like he's got a bunch of obscure alchemical notes, but he sort of points to specific things and says, hey, like, look for this symbol. And although few of you really understand it, anyone who wants to can make an Arcana check. He is just going a million miles an hour.
Holy shit.
And quite frankly, leaving you guys in the dust. But eventually, Attica, you're sort of catching up a little bit. It seems like he's looking for essentially the kind of thing he wants to do is a very powerful thing, and you need a power source for that kind of thing. And when it is alchemically based, you need an alchemically viable power source, and that is essentially just raw solidified magic, which Malthan, you've heard of sort of strange magic rocks being dug up from Indronic, although your specific understandings of them are not well known. Not actually residuum.
Oh,
It's there's sort of a few different variants of sorry, let me here it is. Nope, that's the wrong one. There it is. There's where did I put it? It's essentially 3 different variants of these sort of strange magic. It's essentially crystallized magic, or crystallized magic energy. Anyways, there's Visvium, there's Ethereum, and then there's Mencium. Anyone who wants to can make an Arcana check for each of them. All right, so
Well, to 3
Arctica.
checks.
Yeah,
Why do we have
So-
the same bonus to Arcana? The fuck?
huh. So yeah, Arctica. Visvium is, to your understanding, the most common of the 3. It is a purplish-white crystal that is also known as burrowing amethyst, and it essentially falls in a direction relative to where it is. It is unaffected by gravity, and it has a constant force in a particular direction, relative to, you know, the facings of its crystal. So if you have a piece and you rotate it, then it will move in a different direction.
Cool.
And you probably would have come across the occasional trinket that that your father might have sold back in Bishk Post, that essentially hovered under the power of Visvium. It was essentially faced upwards, and a small amount of it was enough to hover like a small statuette or a globe.
Damn.
Yeah, and it can be refined into a couple of different forms. There's Cadivium, which essentially makes everything around it just stupid heavy. Makes it very, if it were if it were common enough, might make for like a good anchor or a good imprisoning very powerful creatures thing. And
Maybe
then
like
there's
throwing a body into the ocean.
yeah, sure. And then there's Alquetvium, which is essentially a anti-gravity stone that has a limited area of effect around it, that everything else around it also anti-gravity floating. A note is that Vismium, if it is impure, can result in chaotic and changeable movements, where it can just shatter apart. And there's a couple of cases, it looks like, of something called Visvium poisoning, which, contrary to the name, is not necessarily poisoning, but people get sort of microscopic Visvium crystals stuck in their blood and their body, and they have almost like seizures, because the Visvium is just occasionally aligning in a particular direction that just shunts them sideways or upwards or downwards, and sometimes their bones just break forcefully. It's horrific.
Insert that
Yeah.
guy from Iron Man 2 who's in the Iron Man suit at the beginning. He gets his spine broken.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. You have no fucking idea about Ethereum. Sounds magical. Billy, you have a vague understanding that Ethereum is essentially purely crystallized magic. And just generally be careful about it because it's kind of volatile.
Is it naturally forming?
It is naturally forming, but it is very rare.
Ooh.
And then Menicium is probably the rarest of the three. Is something that you find incredibly interesting that you've probably had your eye on for a while, I imagine, Arthika, because this strange sparkling yellow crystal seems to respond to touch, and supposedly in larger formations forms almost like a hive mind, like a conscious entity. Like each small crystal is almost like a synapse or a brain cell. And that makes it incredibly useful in the creation of constructs, but in amounts honestly even larger than just a fist, which is usually almost impossible to find, it can animate on its own and begin acting of its own accord.
Oh my god. Yeah, I want to get my hands on some of that.
Yeah. So yeah, those three strange, magical, essentially crystals that is just crystallized magic, in those three different formations. Yeah, definitely interesting. Although it seems that in particular, Alendril is hoping to find Ethereum, which he hopes to use to power his alchemical interactions. Yeah. Does anyone else? Sorry, did anyone else want to look into anything? I can't remember.
I don't think so.
I'm alright for now.
Well, sorry, my brain's fucking fried. Shao, did you want to look into that amulet at all?
Amulet. I can't remember the amulet. I'm sorry.
Closed eye,
The-
opened up at one point.
Spooky.
The spooky symbol.
Oh, yeah, sure. Maybe I bring it to Alendril's attention.
You absolutely can.
Yeah, since he is the scholar, and I am definitely not a scholar. Chow. Well, after he's not, when it looks like he's reached a lull in his research, Chow will humbly bring forward the piece and let him know that we encountered this, and it's beyond my understanding of what I mean, because I am not a learned scholar. I don't have access to this information, nor am I trained.
Right. Yeah, he'll sort of have a look at it, and we'll take a look through the books. Oh, very good roll on his part. That is, and so as he's looking through, he begins sort of reading some of it out to you, translating it into common. And it seems like this symbol, both symbols, in fact, that you have been shown before, when it was essentially open and closed, are symbols of an entity very old, very, very, very strong, great old one energy going on. And it's referred to by many names, but the most common is the seer, the witness, the eye, or the watcher. And it is definitely very otherworldly, and the limited understanding that is found of it is that it is a thing that seems to be obsessed with seeing more, seeing everything it can, and in exchange for assistance in doing so, it will grant sight of varying types and levels of power to those who assist it. And the symbol that you have on the pendant there seems to be apparently inert. Despite its previous opening and closing.
So you're saying that if I were to have this symbol present when I am in the presence of things that may be of merit, this entity may be inspired enough to grant me boons as its witness or its agent of witness?
Potentially, you may need to consciously choose to do so. Otherwise, there's no telling whether it will acknowledge that you were doing so. But yes, potentially.
Well, now I'm trying to remember the when I first encountered this thing, it helped me, right? Out of character.
Finding your way back out of the desert seemed easier than you expected.
Okay, yeah. Then Shao Xiao's gonna remember that. He's gonna remember that, and he's like, this being helped me when I was lost in the desert, when I was first trying to survive after a long time ago. I think it's fair for me to share what I'm doing. But don't you? What do you think? I have no idea of working with magic like that.
I will not tell you what to do, but I would be careful. There are some tales here of seeing things that were not meant to be seen.
Oh, it shares things and make you go crazy?
When you dig too deep, it seems. But in moderation, it should be alright.
I mean, I think I don't mind sharing my stuff like that. I don't really care to see what it wants to show me. But I mean, if it just wants to see what I can show it, I'd be happy to share that. I think that's fine. If I just want to become an eye for it, I think that'd be fine. I mean, I think that'd be a fair exchange since it saved my life, right?
I suppose so. Although, I mean, you have your life now.
Yeah. Oh, I think that's a fair exchange, considering that I should be dead. So Shao Xiao's, since he's been holding this amulet, he's actually going to put it on now.
Well, good luck, I suppose.
Thank you for the knowledge.
See if I can find a tome that the library won't miss, that I can get to you. But thank you for your assistance, everybody.
If you could, since I mean, of course, money is always appreciated, but I guess I do have a good exchange of value now. If you find any more information about these old symbols, I'd be happy to learn more about it.
Of course, I'll let you know if I find anything.
Thank you.
Oh, and I've been working with the vial you gave me.
Mm.
It's interesting. I've found some interesting properties.
I don't remember the vial either. Sorry, out of character.
You're good. Does anyone else remember?
Vial.
Guessing
The
that's
vial that
most
was in the
of
weird box that said.
Okay, yeah.
Oh,
So we
right.
got one we
Yeah.
got.
The one that I debated on drinking, and then I was like, oh, thank fuck I did. Because when I touched it, I almost mutated my fucking hand.
Should have drank
Yeah.
it.
Insanity. What's that motherfucker? What?
I-
What have you discovered about it?
Well, I've unfortunately expended it all, but it's amazing, really. It seems to have incredible properties of transmutation, though controlling it is difficult. I imagine it could be used to completely transform anything, but it would need to be more, and I need to have better understanding of it. I did manage to look up the symbols. They do appear to be similar to what is found in the Osser Sands in many of the ruins.
Ah, well, I can definitely help with that.
But I would advise against simply wandering the sands. That is not wise unless you have a goal.
You're asking for trouble if you're doing that. You're gonna die.
Yes, there are not. It's not the most hospitable place.
It's almost like that particular region of the world is trying to kill people.
A little bit, yes.
There.
Many
However,
things that
denizens
don't
that-
seem
yeah.
to want to be found.
Yeah. Yeah.
Regardless, thank you very much for your assistance. I have a little bit of family business to attend to. But I'll see if I can get you access to the laboratory here while I'm gone.
Oh, I perk up. Lab time.
And yeah, he is going to. He gets off for a little bit and eventually does manage to come back. So I've got you a short period of time. Well, I mean, short relative to a study period, I suppose. It's about a week or so while I'm away placating my family. And you should be able to use the laboratory, but try not to blow anything up. And yes, I'll be back. I'll honestly be just staying at my family's place for the most part. So is there anything you lot might want me to make for you while I'm busy doing nothing?
Healing potions are always good.
Yeah, I have this bitter root, but I'm not like good really with the.
It's all right. I'll figure something out.
I have a few things of pretty expensive interest, but I have to study it over.
Nice.
Of course. And please feel free to research and the like over the week. I'll be back in a bit, and perhaps your research might come in handy there, Malthan. The Ethereum looks like it's only really going to be acquirable from Dornick.
Back. Definitely. But also, that's not going to be cheap or easy.
All right. So, anyone who wants to, we've essentially got a week of downtime. If anyone wants to do
I make use
anything
of the
with
lab every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to do anything specific, or?
Yes, I make some elixir. I can make
Alright.
2 every day, so I do that.
Yeah, provided you have the ingredients, feel free to go ahead and make those rolls. I think the DC is fixed, so.
If it is an established indoor lab, I do not need to make a roll.
Alright. It is. In which case, you can just easily do that.
See. When I'm not toiling away in the lab all day, trying to find work, I would like possibly. Do they have? All right. I have criminal contacts, right? Ear to the ground. You know, okay, we all know. Urban bounty hunter. I have contacts. Is there a fighting ring or anybody, or is there something? I want to fight somebody. It's not that kind of place, but
I don't have anything planned.
no, yeah. It can be an abstract thing like I fight for money type thing. I'm just kind of looking to get some exercise in a non just exercising way.
Billy fights for the users.
Yeah. I go and I
Okay.
join the Matrix.
I mean, if Billy wants to spar with somebody, Shang Cho probably would be happy to help.
Ooh, that could be fun.
Alright, I think I have an idea.
Oh.
So, having a vague understanding of Feminine society, there's definitely a bit of a hierarchy going on, and there's among some of the less proper folk a slight interest in blood sport. And most of the combatants are folk that are, criminals and the like, that have been essentially mind wiped so that they don't do any more crimes. And then
What? They get what?
mind wiped.
Yeah, they fuck with your brains in Famundra.
Forgot
It's
about
very
that part.
heinous. It's very heinous here. That's why Shao Shao hates this place. He hates it with a burning passion.
Reversible, in theory.
Nuke it from orbit. The only way to be sure.
So yeah, you could go in and have a bit of a tussle there, and maybe earn a bit of money.
Yeah.
But then you would also be physically bludgeoning people that have no control of their own will. They're being used as meat puppets, basically. So the ethics there.
I would assume I have some ability to choose the fights that I want. So I would pick. Ooh, my character sheet just fucking flickered off. That was weird.
Yeah, you could.
I said, I'm not trying to do anything unethical. Maybe there's a I don't know, a bear or something. I'm not an animal lover.
Actually, if Billy is talking about trying to find people to fight, Xiao will probably approach.
I am not talking about it. I am sorry, because that does sound like an interesting character thing. I definitely would just go and do it. I'm
No
sorry.
problem, Nemo. No, it's okay.
Because I would
Alright,
love to.
so
That sounds fun.
I'll say
Unless
that-
you're gonna follow me.
Why don't you just real quick roll me
Oh,
a
no,
constitution
Xiao's trying to keep a low
check just
profile,
to
so he
see
wouldn't
how
follow.
much punishment you're going to be able to take.
You said Constitution,
Yeah.
save or check.
Just check.
Hey, good roll of the night. Here we
Yeah.
go. 2 hours in.
Alright. In which case, I'm going to say that you get just that amount of gold. 21.
Hell yeah, I will take that.
You would have got probably twice that if you had let your morals be a little more looser.
That's
but you're
I
holding a little stronger.
walking that line of
Mhm.
I'm not a good guy, I'm not a bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Walk away, fist bloodied, jaw definitely a little bit crooked and sore. I think I've cracked at least a tooth or two. But I've got that kind of punch drunk, like, whatever, when I will come back that night, and maybe I go back a couple of other times throughout the week, just so, like, that's how I get 21 gold. I probably don't make that all in one night. Then I don't know, depending on how high stakes they are. If these are betting people, maybe I could get more. But
All right.
beyond that, unless there's unless there's dinosaur problems in the area,
No, there are not dinosaur problems in the area.
that's unfortunate.
All right. So,
How many
for
times does no Tika? Oh, sorry.
Hmm?
I was gonna make a joke about Atika blowing us up with her own. I'm scared of the alchemist or the artificer. She has been quiet, and I don't trust it.
Mhm.
I think she's just kind of along for the ride.
She's not planning anything, apparently.
No. What would she have to plan?
I don't know. You got a week of downtime.
Mm.
While Xiao's making meals, I guess where would Atika be kind of like chilling during her
Wait a
downtime?
minute, Are we staying at an inn?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So are the meals are provided?
Well, no, he'd go and he'd actually go and cook. Go someplace where he can cook. He may even get to go find a
That's
place.
fair.
Goes to practice some things. And then he's basically Xiao is keeping a low profile and using it to go practice making food. And that way, if people approach, like, "What are you doing?" It's like, "I'm practicing making food for my masters." And he's playing off being a slave.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah. Alrighty. You guys
But
mind
yeah.
if we take just like a couple-minute break?
Well, that's good.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Yeah, because my brain is just kind of fried right now.
Yeah,
Do
no,
it, do
take
it.
a breather, man.
I'm a little lost for direction.
Yeah,
It's
take
okay.
a
I'm
breather.
just wondering
Alright.
what kind of. I'm uncertain as to what you guys are like looking for or wanting for in this game, and with it, like, is there anything specific that you're hoping for? Because I'm not quite getting a read on that yet.
Well, I mean, I guess we don't know what to want yet, really. We know, at least this is how I feel. I don't really know what to want for yet. Like, no, you go.
I was gonna say, at least I went in expecting to be a little bit more led around by specifically Alendril, because it's called Alendril's endeavor. I expected him to be very much.
That is true. I'm just wondering, like, how
Yeah.
led around do you want to be? Like, I don't want to fully railroad you if you don't want to be fully railroaded.
No, I think I expected the like, I don't know, at least the first, like, we came here to meet him. I thought he was gonna immediately send us to do something, so that's why I feel it might feel like we're kind of going in all random directions, is because we came all this way to meet him, and then it's like, oh, I thought you wanted us to do something, and then we have a week of downtime that I don't think many of us expected. So it's not like I'm not enjoying. I'm having fun.
I can have fun wherever I go, man.
Yeah, so like, if we're like, what I want to do but have been avoiding doing is going like, well, let's go and find a bounty to take while we have a week. But that would for me, that feels like I'm gonna derail what you have planned for Alendril. So I'm trying not to step on shit.
So we have a commission. We're waiting for the commission to be given to us. What's the next task, boss?
Yes.
Also, so we're basically in the heart of the most dire place that Xiao Xiao does not want to be. He hasn't been to this part of the country in years. He's here because he took his commission. Right now, he's trying to keep the lowest profile possible because he is at the very tippy top of the wanted lists here. If they recognize him, he's fucked.
That's true. is racist, and we did
It's
make
super racist.
a whole bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
As D&D character.
Yeah, he can stand out super easy. That's why he's falling back on, Shay, I can be a slave. I know how to be a slave. I'm gonna be a slave right now because if I stand out beyond that, I'm fucked. So that's what he's doing. He's being very low profile, and he's playing that way because if he stands out, they're gonna come down with a hammer on him, and he's gonna die like that. And and also the whole thing about the beast. I could have either gone back and acquired a pet, a new beast, or I could switch it up and change to a new archetype. And I was like, I feel like the Gloomstalker actually kind of fits a little better now because of what happened. But beyond that, he's just trying to not rock the boat and move on, get the hell out of here.
Same time. For the downtime, I was gonna just say, because I figured everyone else was going through their things. Obviously, taking full advantage of the alchemy, experimenting on things, drawing up full designs on possibly a future longbow attachment, even though that would probably be a fucking cursed thing for any elf to see in the future, but an alchemical component, an alchemical item that holds the concoction with almost like a leaking brush to where it would brush the arrow tips and where you wouldn't have to keep feeding it onto other munitions and then have it able to switch out from other bows if something breaks or that, as well as seeing if there are elven bowstrings or other enhancements on that such thing to maybe procure, as well as other designs if there are, they're versed with nature, obviously by demonstration, seeing if there would be anything that would help keep nature contained to its own area where people wouldn't disturb it, and like if there are more reasonable carpentry designs to such like fences or areas of farmland where it could be little dwarfized, yes, this is definitely a Malthorn original, copies blatantly and just changes it to a dwarven So and then obviously when alchemy and research and other things have reached their end, or if somebody needs my help, very quickly breaking away from his mass notebook pile of research arcane instruction, as well as the listed like concentrated magic of Visium, Vithrum, all that of like possible other ideas, like even weighting nets with such items. Or even like an odd delivery system of using Visium with Coldrithum, where it will have Vithrium for an easier throw out, but then Cold Vithrium after you yank it and release the container to have it drop a heavy ass weighted net on it.
Yeah. Okay.
Going absolutely wild with his crafting ideas.
Yeah. I will say, after my brain is kind of fried, and I am feeling a little bit of burnout, so I'm not sure whether to try and push
Maybe
through this.
Do not push.
it,
Do
Yeah,
not
don't
and
push
push.
yourself,
I'll
man.
push through burnout.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's never the
Yeah.
answer.
If you need to call it, call it.
Right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We've been going for quite a bit of time. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
All right.
feel
I
bad.
might. Yeah, because I wanna keep doing game because
Mhm.
we'll only do it once every 2 weeks. But yeah, there's a little bit of burnout.
Absolutely.
Easy enough, man. Put your feet up if you have to.
I mean, I have to
Yeah.
be up early anyway.
All the love. Thank you for pushing as much as you did today.
Yeah.
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 You
Alrighty.
did great. Thank you for winning.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it would be nice if you guys could sort of flick me a little bit about like what specifically you guys kind of enjoy from a game and that kind of thing, so that I can make sure like I'm not just pushing you through a story, and I'm making something that you guys are actually going to enjoy like fully. But yeah.
I've been enjoying every bit. I've got, like
Yeah,
I
I
said,
can,
all
I
these-
can, I can give you the feedback right now, sir. You know, I
Okay.
enjoy playing anything with anybody.
Hmm.
Because I'm one of those guys that can roll with
Hmm.
everything. That's my thing.
Yeah.
If I'm able to play, I'm happy because I enjoy adapting to the situation. That's
Yeah.
how it works for me.
I
So you're
I
good.
want to underscore that I'm not unhappy with the game. So
Yeah,
Yeah,
this
exactly.
has been fantastic.
It's great.
Between the monsters, the
Oh.
craft, the custom alchemy, along with the crazy amount of research that we could throw into it and just have wild ideas
Yeah.
come forward and then continue to improve or even attempt to alter or change things around the world and help other people.
Hmm.
Yeah. Also, like when shoot, my brain's being stupid. When Rogel and Freya, we had that falling out and the death of the companion. That was fun. It was sad as shit, but it was fun.
Yeah.
It was great.
I
And it was like, oh man, that's so sad. It's like, yeah, but it happened. You
Hmm.
know, I had fun with that.
It does remind me, I would have to ask around town if they have anything of trolls wanting proboscis or strange things.
I think we all have stuff we really want to do going forward.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just wasn't sure whether I was like pushing you through it.
No,
Oh,
you're
yeah.
fine, man.
No, we're fucking hanging on to
Cool.
every single word. Like, I have fucking a notebook here, 5 pages deep with everything from your game, man. Like,
I have.
Yeah.
I think I have a bullet point here from every single game of a goal that I've made for the character.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I still
Cool.
have that DM renown rank too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
me too.
I still have my
Okay.
2 punch cards from purchasing things at the store.
Hell yeah, same baby. Loyalty
You guys
card.
you guys will get some cool discount / free stuff when you go back.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Xiaoqiu has a teddy bear that he sleeps with every night that he's named after his dead brother, and he talks to it before he goes to sleep.
God damn, that is morbid but
That's
cool.
really fucking sad.
Holy shit.
Here's the thing.
You-
You know what's one part of the game that I really enjoy?
Hmm?
It's leveling up.
Oh.
I don't think we got enough
I got it.
experience for that
I got
today.
it. I got it.
No, you were gonna level up to level 5 there.
Oh.
What?
Yeah. When as you're leaving Million.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nate, you you magnificent bastard.
Yeah. So you can
Make
level
all
up
kinds
there.
of fun faces. All right.
Hell yeah.
So 6,500.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You were level 4, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So level 5 now. Yeah.
Joss.
Uh,
Excellent. Extra attack. You are a beautiful ability. What?
yeah.
Ah.
Once again, I do apologize for the burnout. I don't
Do
know
not.
what
Do
has
not.
been happening, but my
Please,
brain
man.
is just not recovering lately.
It's like the same
You are
shit that I used to run with my friend Flip. It's the are you okay fund. Mental health is fucking huge. You gotta make sure you take care of yourself, fam.
You are talking to the queen of cancel 30 minutes before the game.
Yeah.
You die of an anxiety attack. Like, don't feel bad about it at all.
Yeah.
I have nothing
Also,
but
I
love for your
would
game.
like to do it more than once every 2 weeks, but I don't know how feasible that is.
I don't really have another day free. I have Wednesday free, and
Yeah.
it's my only free day of the week that's regular. I have a game
Yeah.
every 2 weeks Tuesday, and then
Yeah.
every day, every other day of the week.
Yeah.
I would love to, but
I think
No,
you need to say
please.
sometime to not have a game ready.
I need
Just,
I need one night. I do.
yeah, you need
Yeah.
one night off. Otherwise, you're gonna go crazy.
Talk about burnout. Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's cool.
I
it's
can't
cool
say
to
shit.
have that much.
Yeah, Josh. Don't
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
I give don't speak. Anyway, sorry about that.
So yeah, if you guys could like message me your character's goals and your hopes for the character so that I can like more directly go, okay, this is the plan for the campaign.
Gotcha.
This is what I want to do.
I will
'Cause, yeah,
send
I
you my.
want to make sure that I'm tailoring the experience more effectively.
Gladly. I will send you my extreme machinations and Maltharn's insane pyramid scheme plan, along with improving the world.
All right.
And by improving, I mean like trying to stop monsters from fucking with farmers, kind of situation.
Yeah.
Good night.
Also,
everybody. Oh, wait.
No.
let me
Night.
just real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
No,
Like
I
he's
was just
gonna
gonna. No, I was gonna see what you had to say first.
Okay. Yeah, I was just going to where are we? I have a thing, Xiaoqiao, that is the amulet. Do you attune to it?
Yes.
Okay. Let me message you
Oh.
the thing then.
You die. You
Have
explode and die.
this.
Should have just drank the fucking change and make poison.
Okay, good night,
That's the
everyone.
thing. I hope you enjoy
Maybe
it.
sleep well. Love you.
Nice for you.
Love you too.
So Josh,
Yes.
letter Kenny.
I've already promised my time to another tonight.
You son of a peach.
I'll watch stuff with you.
Okay, Sam.
I am exhausted
rest?
right now.
Go lay down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I might go do that.
Okay.
But yeah.
Thank you very much for the game, my good man.
Yeah.
I will send
And
you the essay.
If I didn't make it clear, when Alendril comes back from having to deal with his shitty family, he's gonna give y'all a little alchemy present,
Ooh. Excited
and
for that.
I'm working on that.
Ooh. All right, so we just need to find a job to do for the week.
I mean, y'all doing the downtime thingies.
Mm.
And feel free to let me know if you want to do alchemy roll-ins, and that can be your downtime if you want to do that. So yeah. Oh, I'm exhausted. Okay. Thank you for coming, and hopefully I will have more shit for you to do next game.
Hell yeah.
Night, dude. Get rest.
Yeah, feel better, man.
Schlep.
Yeah.
Have a great day. Thanks for your game. Thanks for jamming as always. You did great.
Yeah, thank you so much for running.
Oh, you redeemed a lap of the
Okay,
says.
I did.
You
Oh,
silly.
boy.
Hoggy woggy woggers.
Well,
Somebody tell me not to spend $63 on JoJo's merch from Etsy.
You
do
should
not spend
$60
that. Do
on
not.
JoJo.
Stop. Stop.
Etsy.
Control yourself, goddamn.
Don't press the button.
I've closed the tab. I
Good
closed
job.
it.
Good job.
I just accidentally threw something, knocked over my microphone.
Oh,
All right.
God.
I got too excited there.
You're just eating bread?
Bread's delicious. How dare
Bread
you?
with just bread with mayo?
That is delicious. How dare?
Is it?
Yes.
I'm not a bread person.
Dude,
My least favorite part of the burger is the bun.
you're talking to someone who is one of the 5 nationalities of his bloodline is Russian, and that is like a pastime. It's like bread and mayo, and that's it.
Yeah, Josh is advocating for bread. He's talking about how Russia was born and bred on bread.
Bread and
Yeah,
mayo.
Alex said, "Fuck yeah."
Bread and mayo is the best. Don't believe me? You could go and find the YouTuber Life of Boris, and he will confirm.
I believe you. Sorry, I didn't mean.
I come at you, fudge.
I didn't mean it.
Unnecessary. Clap hands.
Oh, hey, tell Alex
The
I
family.
said hey.
Flick says, "Hey."
All right, let me go do a lap on the stairs
Hey.
before I shut out my stream.
All right, do it.
God, do it on stream.
Do it, coward. Oh, my die goes up to a D6. Yay. Huh? What happened with what? Oh, Sam's just feeling some burnout. Sam's
put her
feeling
back.
some burnout. Yeah.
Put her back.
Oh, hell yeah.
Good shit. Proud of you.
Whew. Doesn't take me half as long.
Mmm.
And yes, long bit. Nothing but just bread and mayo. I mean, you could toast it. If you want to be, like,
Fancy.
super on the point, you could do pumpernickel or sourdough. Oh. I'll be doing some WoW Classic in a minute. See if I can get Dad to show back up. But let's see. Is Demon Otter here? Dare I raid him again? I could.
You want to watch Mob Psycho? Alright, I'm being asked to go watch anime.
This is understandable. Enjoy your anime, my good sir. As for now, I will carry everyone from my chat over to Otter Demon. He'll be the second raid of the night. Enjoy. He's a Gucci Twitch streamer.
Night, y'all.
Very well, friends.